Chat's calling, grab your mug and settle in. We're unwrapping cases, rumors, filings, all the mess these folks get in. Lights are twinkling, drama sprinkling, send chaos, extra shine. It's a holiday hangout, so come on in and hit go live. Cozy blanket, court romantic, somehow both at once again. Every dark drop feels like Christmas when the tea comes rolling in. Chats laughing, mods are clapping, trying not to lose the plot. But if the filings go sideways, hey, at least the coat goes hot. Wrap the week up like a present, tie a bow on all the hype. If the judge says something spicy, we'll pretend that it was nice. From the chaos to the comfort, from the hearings to the cheer. Pull up close, the stream is starting, it's our weird little time of year. It's a baker Christmas dream where the tea is warm and the kisses screen, lights are bright. Chats in the zone, hit that play or not alone. It's a baker Christmas dream where the tea is warm and the kisses screen, lights are bright. Chats in the zone, hit that play or not alone.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whatever you are. I don't know. Whatever you dream about being. Maybe you dream about being an astronaut. Maybe you dream about being a cockadoodly too. I don't know. Whatever people wants to do. Inspire says another case I have heard nothing about. Well, I've heard a little bit about it, and there was a custody hearing, not really related, but related to the case yesterday while I was out driving, and we talked about me and the Moods that we should try and cover it because this case is a little bit weird. I wanted to watch Brian Walsh, but already the same. But thanks for doing this one, even though it's fresh. So we will assume who did it before the case. Well, they have a suspect. Let's just say that. Hey, J7 and Courtney and Mers. By the way, Mers, the 21st of January, if you're not doing anything, Dave and his wife will be in Odense. Hey, Panella. But for those of you who don't know the case, this is the mystery around Anna Kepner, who was a 17-year-old girl from Titusville, Florida, who in November was found passed away in her cabin aboard a Carnival cruise ship while she was on a family vacation. They pretty fast reached the conclusion that she had been strangulated. And it's something they call a bar hold. I don't know what a bar hold is, but that's what they claim this to have been. And because it's on a cruise ship, this is a federal trial. So how much we'll be able to cover the real trial, I don't know. But this is a custody hearing where they will talk about how the family dynamics, because it was a merged family. And this is what this custody hearing is about. There's very little out there. and they haven't done any arrests, they haven't filed any charges, and they haven't publicly named any suspects so far. But the stepmother of Anna has claimed that the FBI is looking at her son as the possible culprit. So that's going to be quite. I think Rudolph is envious of a hat even redder than his nose. Yeah. Yeah, wonder why. Wonder because I don't want to have the stomach bug and pooping all the time. So this case might be fishy. No, because she was found under her bed in the room. But this custody is, or this trial, this hearing is about a custody dispute involving Anna's younger siblings, and in those filings connected to this case, Anna's stepbrother was named as being under investigation in connection with her death. And it's not from the law enforcement. She claims she read it in the documents, but she has then later um, taken or declared she's going to take her Fifth Amendment rights. So that's where all of it kind of blew up in the media, that people found out, oh, the brother might have done it. And parts of this custody battle will be in relation to the children's welfare. And so we will hear people from school and stuff like that who will testify about this. So we can get a little insight into it. And again, if you're not hanging out watching the Brian Walsh, you might be. We can watch this. So we don't know much, but let's watch and see if we get any new things in all of this. Hey, Bad Dazzle. No, it's red. It's just my my screen output that's weird. Oh, and by the way, remember Saturday I'll be doing 12 hours fundraising for 3 different people and mentioning 2 others, but I have slotted it in for 3 different 4-hour segments. The first from 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. will be the Kelsey Fitzsimmons trial, part of the show Defense, where we will promote her defense fund. From 10 to 2, we will be promoting Valhalla Await and his probate that he is trying to raise money for. And from 2 to 6, we will try and raise some money from Aiden Carney and his defense fund. But Baker, all his lawyers are paid. I heard that on the twat. Stop listening to twat. And again, that case is probably going to be the best chance to find out what, if you're ever going to find out what the House defendants might have said, done, that could imply anything, because we know they don't care. They lied to the FBI. So we have to wait and see. But that's going to be this Saturday, and we will also be promoting Darren Spencer fundraiser for his sheriff campaign and the Deitch for DA, but we can't, us foreigners can't support. I will put all the links in, and I'm going to preference this instantly, so no one will start sending me money and say I'm going to send it on, because that's going to be a hell of a crap fest, because I'll have to figure out how much does YouTube take, how much do I have to pay taxes. Then I'll have to take it out of my business, which I can't do. So I would have to use my personal funds on it. It's going to be hell. So it's going to be fundraising through the links. I don't want any of the money going through my account, because it'll only be taking away money from the final product or the final tally. So if you are considering donating to any of the causes, please use the links that we provide, because everything you send to me through YouTube, first of all, I have to pay the YouTube tax, which is 30%. Then I have to pay my business tax, which is 27%. And then I will have to take it out into my own account, where I will have to pay personal taxes on it. So your $10 will be turned into $3. Don't do that. Use the links that we're going to provide. And if you are going to contribute, if you're not, come hang out with us, tickle all the like buttons, participate in chat. When we do the call-in portions of the show, call in, talk about what you want to talk about, and help me that way hitting the YouTube's algorithm. And if you don't want to do any of this, just sit in your cozy bedroom, living room, whatever room, with your blankets on, and hopefully we will have Legos, laughs, guests, fun, a lot of things. But that will be Saturday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. But Baker, you're weirdly fluffy, erotic man beast. 6 a.m. stupid, because California, that's 3 a.m. I know, but it's also really good for you, Europe, because it'll be midday and it'll be evening in Australia. So we will get full circle around the globe. I've been around the world, and I'm seeing it all, seeing it all. Been around the world. That was a little aqua. So because people have been reaching out and saying, why don't you do it at this time? Because this will be midday to midnight for my time zone, which will fit me. I can get to bed and Sunday won't be ruined. Why do I have a paddle? It's to promote the new line of disciplinary toys from the Baker Media Group. I also have the keychain version if you just need a little discipline. I've seen the headlines about this. Yeah, but it's a federal case, so we won't get much, but maybe we can hear a little bit out of the hearing from yesterday and figure out what, if any, is going on. How old is she? She had custody of her siblings. No, she's 17 years old. The custody battle is between parents and step-parents and all of this crap. That's why. Guten Tag. It's not a toy, it's a baguette measuring tool. Well, I probably will sell better than t-shirts. But let's do this. Get back into just watching a little bit of court hearing. It's not going to be the longest. That's what she said. Why did she say that? I don't know. I was in Thailand and drunk, and it was a surprise. What are you talking about? Don't. Yeah, because I didn't sleep last night. I have been disciplining myself a lot.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Actually, my name is Linda Anderson, and I represent the respondent, Chantal.
Thank you. Okay, and Mrs. Moinetti, how do you wish to proceed, sir?
I can make some brief opening remarks and then proceed from there.
Sir?
Please, court. Your Honor, we are here on behalf of Thomas Hudson to seek a motion to contempt and enforcement of a parenting plan that was agreed to back in April of 2024. But to understand the circumstances and the basis for the motion of contempt, we actually have to go back a little bit before that. Your Honor,
This custody battle has to do with the family dynamics. As I just said, this has nothing to do with the trial, but it gives us a little bit insight in the family dynamics. It's a federal trial, so we can't really watch anything, and they haven't really put anyone in custody or raised any charges so far. But I just wanted to show this.
Mr. Hudson was married to Mrs. Kepner now for almost 15 years. They got divorced in 2022. There was a parenting place that was put in place from 2022 all the way through. In January of 2024, that is when Mrs. Hudson, or Ms. Kepner, the respondent in this case, started being involved in a relationship with Christopher Kepner. At that time, the respondent and the petitioner were living in Carnival County, Florida. From the time of the divorce and the agreed parenting plan for 2022 to 2024, Mr. Hudson received regular and normal visitation with 3 children, AH, TH, and BH. With no issues whatsoever, no problems with the parenting plan, no issues with visitation whatsoever, no therapy, nothing at all. Things started to change in January of 2024, and that's where the operative is. That's when the respondent started pursuing a relationship with Christopher Kepner. During that time, they were just simply girlfriend and boyfriend. As I said, they were both residing in Carnival County. A couple months into that relationship, the respondent went ahead and asked Mr. Hudson if she could move to Titusville. Obviously, Titusville being in Brevard County was not in accordance with the parenting plan, and it required an amendment to the parenting plan. Mr. Hudson was reluctant to give this agreement. However, the respondent assured Mr. Hudson that the reason why she wanted to move to Titusville, Brevard County, was to pursue a better financial opportunity for herself, as well as to pursue improved schooling for the children. Reluctantly, the petition in this case agreed. An agreed parenting plan was made. It was filed as an exhibit to our trial and exhibit list, which we'll obviously talk about during the testimony in this case. In that agreed parenting plan, it was specifically stated that the parenting plan was to be reviewed on June 1st every year going forward to determine A, if the respondent had in fact procured better financial opportunities, and B, the progress of the children. As we move fast forward, you'll see why that becomes relevant. Several months into 2024, there came a time when it was agreed and signed that the respondent was going to take the 2 minor children at the time, in this case TH and BH, with her to Titusville. The child, AH, who you'll hear from today, who was 17 years old and at the time was a junior in high school in Carnival County. Because of that, it was agreed upon between both the petitioner and the respondent that AH would stay with the petitioner until he finished his junior year in high school, after which time they would possibly seek relocation of AH as well to Brevard County. Here's where things kind of get interesting. So somewhere in early 2024, the respondent in this case did in fact move to Titusville with Christopher Kepner, her still boyfriend at the time.
As I understand it, AH is the kid who his mom says is a suspect in the case. He's a minor, I believe 16 years old, so that's why they don't mention his name.
Mind you, this relationship has only been a couple of months strong, but regardless, she made the decision, and the 2 children did fail. What's important to note is that during that time, between early April of 2024 and April 22nd, 2024, this is going to become a very important date in this whole matter. Thomas, the petitioner in this case, did in fact ask for and did receive visitation with his children overnight, even though at that point the respondent was already residing in Titusville. In other words, they made arrangements, they had this agreed parenting plan, there was a pickup, there was an overnight visit. I would like to mention that there's absolutely no evidence that there has been any issue with any visitation of the children wanting or not wanting to go before April 22nd of 2024. There's just simply no record evidence. It wasn't until the date of April 22nd, 2024 that things began to change. on April 22nd, 2024, and the court is going to hear testimony to this effect. At that point, the AH was at high school in Hernando County. Unbeknownst to the petitioner, received no prior notification, no prior notice. And that particular day, the respondent and her then boyfriend, Christopher Kepner, drove to the high school and then picked Andrew AH up against his will. Andrew had told the respondent several days before that he no longer wanted to go with her to Brevard County. His high school was here, all his friends were here, this is where he wanted to stay. At that point, the respondent did not like that particular answer, so she took it upon herself, again, never communicating with the petitioner's case, drove to the high school, and forcibly removed AH from the high school, putting them in Christopher Kepner's vehicle. At that time, the only way that the petitioner was even informed that this was going on was...
This is in Florida, but the murder case will be federal because it happened on a cruise ship. So that's federal, because what jurisdiction is out on the waters, it's federal. But yeah, it's a custody dispute we are having today. Not a murder case, but just to see if we get some insights in the family dynamics. And I think it's hilarious that AJ is defending Nick Reiner. All the AJ Sims coping and seething when they believe he never repped a bad person. I don't believe it's so many AJ Sims. It's more the people on the other side who wants to say, oh, look, he is only repping bad people. He's a defense attorney. Most clients are guilty. Great defense attorneys just give them a chance in the system.
Because the school called the petitioner to let him know what was happening. Interestingly enough, when they took AH and they put him in the vehicle, they took AH's phone, and that being the respondent, as well as Christopher Kepner, shut off all location, so he could not be tracked by the petitioner in this case, which makes it even more interesting. They go ahead during that visit. There's a struggle in the vehicle, in which case AH, and you're going to hear testimony from AH today about all this, was in the vehicle, and he wanted to get out. He did not want to go with the respondent to Titusville. They physically restrained him, and he was assaulted both by the respondent and by Christopher Kepner. There are pictures and photographs that we have introduced and put in an exhibit that we will again introduce through AH in this case that evidences the restraint that happened. AH will testify about the restraint that happened by Mr. Kepner and by Chantal. Basically, they held him in the back of the seat. Christopher Kepner reached back, and his head pinned against the back of the armrest, or one of the headrests, and there's photographs to show that damage. They eventually made their way to Titusville, to Brevard County, at which point the petitioner in this case went and drove to the respondent's address. They went there, authorities were called, DCF was called. Obviously, this created quite a bit of a stir for everyone involved. Ultimately, it was determined, because AH had said so, AH being 17 years old at the time, told law enforcement authorities, as well as DCF, that he did not want to go with the respondent, that he wanted to go back home with the petitioner in this case. And that's what happened. And the petitioner has AH has resided with the petitioner since April 22nd of 2024. He's have not since returned to see the respondent. As we fast forward a little.
No, it has to be, because I think in the court documents he will be mentioned, but because it's a public hearing in a minor case, that's why they have to use the. And he only fucked up twice using his name so far, so he's doing pretty well. He's doing pretty well. Yeah, maritime law would, but again, the feds will take jurisdiction. The mom got twisted drunk and effed off to bed with giving a shiz about the teenagers. We don't know that because we don't really have anything, but she's pled the fifth, the mom.
A little bit, it's going to be our position, Your Honor, that event that the respondent in this case is characterized as a kidnapping, which is actually the actual opposite of what happened. It was the respondent and Christopher Kepner that went ahead and took enter AH against his will. The respondent in this case, and this is what is the basis for the motion for contempt, used that kidnapping as a way to set up the systematic and alienation of both TH and BH for over a year and a half. The petitioner in this case, except for 2 weeks ago, has not had any overnight visitation with his children, BH or TH, since that incident happened. After the incident on April 22nd, the respondent then went ahead and took both BH and TH to a therapist, told the therapist that the children were afraid of being kidnapped by their father. Mind you, there has never been any issue with either child saying they didn't want to go with the father up before April 22nd, never any issue with visitation, never any allegations, there's none of that. It's not until this April 22nd incident where the respondent was denied access to AH because of AH choosing to be with the father, this whole thing set this chain of events in play. So the respondent goes ahead and takes takes TH and BH to therapy in early May. The respondent in this case actually tells the therapist that the children are afraid of being kidnapped by their father and not being returned home. Also in those notes, which we have a copy, they're redacted, obviously some of them are a little sensitive, but there are in those notes references in which the respondent's case alleged that
This is not a blonde woman. It's Dee Snider. After their last reunion tour didn't really pay off, Dee Snider started working as a prosecutor in Florida. They got a little bit of the volume back from the 80s.
the petitioner in this case engaged in physical abuse, verbal abuse, both for all 3 children and against her, both during the marriage and after. There's simply no evidence of that whatsoever, Your Honor. That was simply made up by the respondent in this case to again start this chain of events to alienate both TH and BH against their father, the petitioner's case, Thomas Hudson. From there, Your Honor, there's a course of therapy that takes place, and we have a chain of, it's a bit of a slop, I'm afraid to say, emails and text messages that go back and forth regarding the whole visitation issue. There's some critical emails that are centered around April and June of 2020.
The smallest surprise in history. Color me surprised. A guy who said, yeah, I chopped her up, but I didn't kill her. Found guilty. Let me do I'm going to be a cartoon on the internet. And then him getting life because he showed no remorse at all. You can call me Baker Damas because I saw that one coming a mile away. Yeah, let's get the Snyder who was at the congressional hearing. That was a good Snyder. Pretty sure it's Dr. Bounty Hunter. No, Dr. Bounty Hunter was, what case was it that he got involved in? That was a case where he showed up. Well, the perm is not in so much anymore. No DP. I don't think they have the DP in Massachusetts. And yeah, it's mandatory life. So again, big woohoo. But it's faster because I thought that people were talking about the family coming down and giving statements and the mom in Serbia and stuff like that. Emily C has convinced me the mom did it. I'm writing to the end of this process, but only in haiku. You do that, and you should be at work. And I think there's no DP in Massachusetts, so it hasn't been on there.
April 24th, 2024, in this particular case, the petitioner's case specifically asked the respondent when he was going to get his visitation pursuant to the agreed parenting plan that was signed in April of 2024. In which case, the respondent never responded to that. He followed up 2 days later on April 26th about his visitation, both with TH and with BH. And at that point, on June 5th, the respondent actually wrote in an email saying that he was not going to get visitation at all because of of what the children are saying and how now they're afraid of him and they don't want to go with him, and kind of set this whole.
That's right. Yeah, the firewall case. They were talking about maybe bringing the DP, but the feds came out last Monday, Tuesday last week, and said they won't be seeking the DP in that case either. And don't worry that you mess up trials unless it's very horrific or very funny. I need my mods to tell me you covered that trial. Okay. No, you can't yell at someone when you've been in a hold queue.
I have emails to establish that. From that time forward, Your Honor, up until literally 2 weeks ago, he has had no visitation with his children, strictly against the parenting plan that was entered into on April of 2024. Interestingly enough, in the email traffic and the notes, also the therapy notes, somewhere around August of 2024, there's also another note from BH where she's indicating, she's not afraid of her father, but yet she wants these very specific parameters. Quite frankly, this disingenuous coming from an 8-year-old about how she would be welcome to visitation as long as it's in Brevard County in a public space, with the stepfather, something to that effect. Which obviously shows, in our mind, a certain degree of manipulation that's going on here in this concerted effort to keep homicides from the children. I will also tell you that during that Titusville incident, there's going to be testimony to this effect that Mr. Kepner informed when they were at Titusville that he was not going to get to see his children again absent the court order. That was relayed to him at the Titusville when the police arrived and when DCF was there as well. So we have this path now where the respondent is with her boyfriend. She's obviously upset about what happened with Andrew Hudson. There was an injunction that was filed, just so the court knows, in Hernando County regarding this injunction. There was some findings there. I will tell the court that those findings are obviously, it's a different type of hearing than we are today. There's a different evidentiary basis for that. In that case, they declined to pursue any type of charges against Christopher Kepner. I will tell you, and this will probably come out either through the cross of Christopher Kepner or otherwise, obviously Mr. Kepner denies having any type of assault. So in essence, the court just said, well, that he said, she said, I don't find enough here, and that's why I have with the injunction.
You've been talking for 20 minutes now, and you haven't said anything other than the dad didn't have visitations because the mom claimed he had attacked the kids. Oh my God, you're slow.
We're not offering that purposes for establishing and proving assault by Mr. Kepner, although we do think that's what happened. What we're offering is this intent element.
I turned your notifications off after the way you behaved this morning. No more of that, young lady.
As the court is well aware, when you're dealing with issues of custody and time sharing, and you file a motion of contempt, quite often there's an argument that one parent says the child didn't want to go, right? And we all know, and the case law is very clear on this, that is not enough. Obviously, the custodial parent has the obligation to try to do the best they can to encourage and allow that visitation to take place. And you can't just simply say, okay, well, the child didn't want to go, so you don't want to go. There's case law on this, but whether or not that rises to the level of contempt, right? And it's kind of all over the place a little bit, Your Honor. We are aware of some second DCA cases out there that talk about this particular issue. But really what we have is, okay, we definitely have an issue here where I expect the respondent to argue, well, the children didn't want to go, and the therapist said they didn't want to go. I can tell you the therapist in the therapy notes, I saw no notation where the therapist said they couldn't go. What you do see is some parroting that's coming from the respondent through the children to the therapist.
I'm going to object, Your Honor. He's proffering testimony of what he believes he's proffering testimony from counseling records. There's been no 12.363 order to allow the counselor to testify or for the counselor's notes to come in. So I don't know why we're talking about them. They're not admitted, and my understanding is they can't be admitted under these circumstances.
I will let you know that when I'm listening to opening statements, I don't take it as evidence. I don't take anything he's telling me as evidence.
Thank you.
Have we seen this judge before? She has that weird kind of French accent. Was she the judge in the kid who unalived both of his parents? Oh, you didn't see it until now? It's Dee Snyder.
Anyway, these therapy notes, obviously, we can deal with that issue when we get to it. The kids do go to therapy for several months, and as time kind of goes on. So then what happens is, so Thomas, the petitioner in this case, does not receive any visitation. There are numerous emails to the respondent, him saying, hey, when am I going to see the kids? When can I see the kids? Tell the kids that I love them, all of this type of stuff. The respondent always responds, the kids aren't ready to see you, they don't want to see you, that's not going to happen, and I'm worrying about their emotional state. In other words, that in this case, this is what the case law is is that, okay, if you just have the child saying, I don't want to go, that's one thing, but you need some act by the custodial parent that helps facilitate that. And that's really what we have here. That's why this April 22nd thing is so important, because what that does is, using the plaintiff, the respondent's own words, characterizing this as a kidnapping when there was no issue with visitation before April 22nd is a direct attempt to go ahead and poison and alienate the children, the young children, the 8-year-old, and I believe a 12-year-old at the time, against their father. And that's basically what happened to a large degree. She got what she wanted. There was some hesitation by the children at that point to see their father, despite the father's repeated attempts to do that. The father, and you have testimony from the father, that he went ahead and went to the reported pickup site. The respondent would not show. They would say the kids got sick or create some excuse for that. And always falling back on, hey, we're not going to go until the children say it's okay to go. And the case law is clear on this as well, Your Honor. An 8-year-old child does not get to decide that. That may be a factor that the court consider, but there on its face cannot just display, I don't want to go with dad, therefore we're not going to have visitation. Just think of the nightmare that would create for the court system. Nor can you simply go to a therapist and use that as a conduit to get that exact same testimony out. It's not enough. So going back to the case law on it, you need to show a couple of things. You need to have intent, right? You have to show some act on the mother. Our act on the mother is we have this kidnapping incident, again, where it was AH that was actually kidnapped, if we're going to use that term, against her will, and set this kind of bad motive in place. So it's the mother's actions that's now influencing and controlling both the 8-year-old and the 12-year-old at the time. So as we continue forward, Your Honor, eventually November 4th of 2004, the petition in this case ultimately went ahead and filed this emergency motion for contempt and a petition for modification to the parenting plan, because obviously the parenting plan was not working. In that instance, despite the best efforts, for whatever reason, there was not a hearing that was granted until now. So almost 13 months later, a hearing was granted. And here's where we are today. And during that time, from the time that that motion was filed until the current day, except for 2 weeks ago, there has been no visitation, overnight visitation allowed by the respondent to petition, to show this ongoing. And there's some case law that talks about if it's the first day, like the first time parents are divorced, and there's a parenting plan, and kids are kind of upset, there's one thing, right? This was not the first day that these children were dealing with divorced parents. It's not the first day that they were dealing with visitation. I think that's an important distinction, especially when you look at the fact that from April of 2024, the beginning of April, before that, there were no issues with visitation. There was no child ever said, oh, I don't want to go with my father. There was no allegations of abuse. There was no allegations of physical or verbal abuse or anything like that. It wasn't until this incident that everything went ahead and changed. So we have the intent of the mother now changing, and now the actions of the mother now changing. And despite no wrongdoing on behalf of the petitioner, he has not had visitation. But here's where the story gets even more interesting, and why we have so many cameras in this courtroom even right now. There's this continued effort for the petitioner to see his children. That there's plenty of email traffic and text messages.
Her suspected unaliver, according to her mom, is her stepbrother, who's a year younger. The story is that he is on certain medications that he hadn't taken for a couple of days and hadn't slept, and that's why he. But again, the feds haven't said anything. There hasn't been charges brought. I believe at this point he is with other people in the family, so he's not a danger to his other siblings.
That sort through where he's trying to establish and reconnect with his children during the time period of January of 2025 up until the present time. What happens during the May-ish time frame, 2025, the respondent in this case goes ahead and tells the petitioner that she would like to take the children on a cruise. In which case, yes, Your Honor, it is related to this, on a cruise, right? And then in which case,
Your Honor, I'm going to object. You just sent an email to counsel yesterday indicating that you were
I did.
only hearing.
I did. Two things,
yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Molinelli. One, I will not hear anything that has to do with that second motion. I did send an email about that. That's number one. Number two, I will remind you both, we have 1 hour.
Yes, ma'am.
We've been 15 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, more than 15 because I started split, right? And, okay.
The only issue about the
Only
cruise
been
is
15 minutes.
there's nothing, we're not talking about anything about anything else that was alleged in the prior motion. It's just that the petitioner's case did not consent, and this goes basically to the respondent's ongoing attempts to basically thwart the petitioner in this case's parental role in this case. That's all I'm talking about, is that there was no consent. That's it, nothing about anything else. I understand what the court said, I saw the email, I do appreciate it. In any event, so there was a hearing that resulted from that. The first time that the petitioner was able to get overnight visitation, well, there was a Thanksgiving, so there was a Thanksgiving day in which the petitioner had a perfectly fine Thanksgiving with the one child BH. They went over to his residence in Hernando County, they spent the day, the exchanges went fine, the drop-off went fine, the pickup went fine, everything went fine. Dropped the child off, there was no big commotion about any of that. The hearing takes place on the 5th, later that afternoon, they had visitation. Again, that's his first overnight visitation. His first overnight visitation on December 5th, 2025, from April of 2024. In that case, BH goes to the designated drop-off point. They drop the child off. The child does go with the petitioner in this case for an overnight visitation. We're going to have testimony from Mr. Hudson about that, about what happened during that visit. It was a perfectly fine visit. You'll have testimony from age as well too. Andrew Hudson, who's 18 years old now, about that particular visit. There's photographs that we submitted as an exhibit to show that that visit went without a hitch. Brooke actually, BH actually stated to her father that she wanted to stay another night, just to show that it's in the best interest of the child for both the petitioner and BH to be reunited so that they can go ahead and foster and re-foster that bond that they had, which was very, very strong before this incident happened. Based on that, Your Honor, we think, and you're going to hear the testimony in this case, that cumulatively what that demonstrates is the response in this case, willful determination to thwart the parenting plan, and is the basis for a motion to consent. Also in contravention to Section 61 that deals with the time sharing activity. Because of that, Your Honor, we're going to ask for 140 days of makeup time. We're going to establish that, and we'll get that through Mr. Hudson about how we came to that figure, as well as an enforcement from this court saying, hey, we need to follow this enforcement plan regardless if the child says they don't want to go or not. We need to have a plan in place to deal with that, as well as attorney fees and costs. All right, I appreciate your indulgence. I know I went a little bit long, and we will get to the testimony in this case, but thank you very much.
Satisfied?
Briefly, the respondent and petitioner entered into an amended parenting plan back on March 12, 2024 to allow her to relocate with all 3 children of the marriage to Brevard County. The agreement is very clear. It's in writing. There's nothing ambiguous about it. Both parties signed it. As a matter of fact, both parties drafted it themselves and read it and signed it and submitted it to the court, and then the court entered an order ratifying that and ordering the parties to comply with that agreement. Yes, Ms. Hudson, now Mrs. Kepner, was in fact divorced. She started dating Mr. Kepner back in October of 2023. There were issues with the children even at that time. They tried to say that prior to that, to her wanting to move over there, that everything was ideal. It was not. The children had been in counseling since December of 2023. So even before the move to Brevard County was contemplated by the parties. I should also note that on this agreement that they signed, which is an amended parenting plan, it says very clearly in the amended parenting plan that any modifications to this parenting plan shall be in writing.
Your hair doesn't look perfect. It looks like she had it curled up because she was going to have some fun. And then she had that fun and she couldn't find her brush after having that fun. This is wild new boyfriend smacks here. This isn't just a thank you Saturday night. This is I just met this guy and he was pulling my hair and choking me a little bit and rubbing me all over the place and throwing me around like it was one of those movies. That's why she had it curled, because they went to a fancy dinner and then she said, ravish me like you are an inmate at the sexual institution of Make My Hiney Red. It's a well-known institution. Sponsored by Baker's Patties. Yeah, checked in the bushes here. No, but I'm trying to give it. Jess, you sleep when the degeneracy comes out, and let me just say, last night the Jesses were off the hook, and they weren't even the worst. I'm not naming any names, pointing any fingers, but someone was very, very off the hook, and even though she claimed she was going to bed, she stayed for another 30 minutes off the hook. But it was tons of fun last night. But that's why I know I need to talk. We have had a new move-in. Sue isn't the only degenerate anymore. No, it's your dirty minds. Oh yeah, me and the expert was making sugar cookies. I don't know what that is.
And signed by the parties. They want to come in here and tell you that my client is in contempt because she removed the child, the eldest child, from school in Hernando County and moved him to Brevard County. She didn't violate anything. That's what the paperwork says. It's in plain English. Everybody can read, and they understood it. He signed it. But now they want to come in and say that somehow she's in contempt for wanting to take the 3 children, which is what the agreement says. So I do think that is a problem. And then he's trying to say that there was no tracking. He had location tracking device on the child, so he knew where the child was. He arrived at the respondent's residence and started screaming and yelling to the other 2 minor children to get their ass out there to come and see him. He was very vulgar and rude with them. And so there was a natural fear that these children had about going there. And during the time, it should be noted, they filed this an emergency motion. They call it an emergency motion for contempt that they filed on November 4th of 2024. It was denied as an emergency and told to be set on the court's regular calendar. They never set it for hearing until October of this year, over almost a year later, for a hearing date for December, which is today, December 17th. So if it was such an emergency that you had to ask the court to give you emergency hearing time, why don't you wait a year to set it for hearing? The reason why they wanted to wait a year to set it for hearing, Your Honor, is because when he took the oldest child, he came down to Brevard County and took the oldest child on that April 22nd day, brought him back. He never allowed the mother to have contact with the eldest child, claiming that the child didn't want to see her. So he's in violation of the very agreement that he's accusing Mom of being in violation. And under the clean hands doctrine, you can't ask to hold somebody in contempt of an order that they're not themselves in compliance with. But the eldest child turned 18 in October of this year. And so thereafter, that's when he set this hearing for December, interestingly. The children have been in counseling the entire time. That is the time frame crafted in the motion, which is basically from
March of 2024 up through November of 2024. The children have been in counseling, so these issues were discussed. And as a matter of fact, with all the emails and notes that opposing counsel mentioned, there's emails asking the father to participate with counseling with these two younger children. There was no counseling that mother was asked to participate with regard to the eldest child. And he said the child was in counseling, wouldn't even tell the child or tell the mother what the full name of the counselor was. So mother couldn't even call to get that information. But having said that, he's had this opportunity to participate in counseling. And there were weekends where he asked for time sharing, which mother complied with. On some of the weekends, they were her weekends. She even offered and invited him to Thanksgiving last year. And they're putting in their motion that he didn't get Thanksgiving. Well, if you read the agreement, again, the one they signed together in March, it says that in even years, which would have been 2024, she gets Thanksgiving. It's not even his Thanksgiving. So I don't think she can be in contempt of something that, again, she wasn't in violation of to begin with, because it doesn't comport with what's in the agreement. And the last thing, and I know we're not here to talk about the unfortunate cruise, but when he's saying he's just doing it for consent purposes, if you read, the same amended parenting plan that they signed, it clearly says she doesn't need his consent. She's required to give 60 days notice that she's going to take the children out of the country, which she did comport with. So, again, she did what she was supposed to do and acted at all times in accordance with the parenting plan. There were many weekends where the father didn't even, it was his weekend for every other weekend time sharing, didn't even ask, didn't confirm. One time he didn't even show up for the time sharing. My clients went to the meeting place, didn't even show up.
Can you DM me what's happened? We might go over it after the stream. This is just a custody hearing related to another stream, to another trial. The trial will be a federal trial, so there won't be cameras most likely, but it's just to hear a little bit about the family dynamics.
So, again, I don't see how this client can be found in contempt. Furthermore, the Florida law provides that even if you were to find that there was any contemptuous behavior, changing custody is not the answer to it. In fact, the case law supports that you can't change custody as a basis for that. And it also depends on what's the best interest of the children. If the court doesn't find that it would have been in the best interest of the children to do that at that time, then certainly there could be no contempt as well. And thank you.
So you want to call your first witness?
Yes, Your Honor, we would like to call Andrew Hudson.
Your Honor, I did want to invoke the rule. I don't know if I don't know if they're all from the press or if they're witnesses, and I'm not even sure.
No one is on.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure I wanted to invoke the rule.
Yes. So if there's any witnesses, you said, Mr. Molinari, that you have no witnesses here?
No, just Andrew Hudson and then Thompson.
This isn't the trial. This is a custody hearing about the family, but it's just because it's related to the unaliving of the daughter on the cruise ship, where the mom allegedly says the FBI has her son as a person of interest. No charges has been brought, but because it's on a cruise ship, it will be federal. But I just wanted to see if we got some insights into anything. They're not going to talk about the murder in this one. It's just how effed up the family is. Yes, it's because it's on a cruise ship. No, it's not this kid. It's we won't get any. Oh, see, they said the name now.
Okay, and there's no other witnesses from you, Ms. Addison?
No, they're outside.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Hudson, please raise your right hand to be sworn in. Swear or affirm that everything you tell the court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay, I'm going to need you, sir, to speak loud into the microphone so I can hear you, okay? Okay, thanks. Mr. Marinetti, you may proceed.
Thank you, ma'am. Will you please state your name?
Andrew Hudson,
And Andrew, how old are you?
18,
And when did you turn 18?
October 4th this year.
October 4th, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
And Andrew, where do you live?
I'm with my dad,
And where is that?
in Ridge Manor, I believe.
What county is that? Do you know?
Hernando.
And how long have you lived with your father?
About 2 years.
Has your father ever denied you access to your mother, Chantal?
No,
The entire time that you've been, has he ever told you that you cannot speak with, communicate, visit, or see Chantal in any way, shape, or form?
no,
So, are you currently in school?
yes,
Let's back up a little bit. There was a time when, obviously, your mother was married to.
Don't go back. It's just been boring. They wouldn't let the father see the kids. Blah 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 blah. That's what it's about. They want to keep the mom in content for not letting her see let him see the kids, but it's not that interesting.
Thomas, you remember that?
yes.
And obviously, you're alive during some of that time period.
hmm
Do you ever recall a time in which your father verbally, physically abused or assaulted any of your siblings, either TH or BH?
No, sir.
Have you ever see a time when he was verbally or physically abusive to your mother, Chantal?
No, sir.
Now, they got divorced, correct?
Yes.
And then as a result of the divorce, you had to do, like most normal kids do, you had to do everything. Not a great thing, right? Because it was
Yes.
And so roughly between 2022 and let's call it January 2024, did you in fact have regular visitation with your father in her name?
Yes.
And were your siblings, both BH and TH, were they present during these visitations?
Yes.
Was there ever a time that you witnessed either yourself or your siblings saying they did not want to visit with or spend time with your father?
No, sir.
Sure enough.
During the time, no.
Has there ever been any any allegations of abuse, physical or otherwise, by your father of yourself or any of the children?
I'm aware of apparently a BB gun, someone getting shot with a BB gun, but other than that,
And then, so during that time period, was there ever a time in which either yourself or BH or TH said they did not want to spend time with your father?
no.
So I want to move a little bit forward to 2024, and you're in high school.
Yes.
And what year are you now?
I'm a senior year, 12th grade,
And when are you going to graduate?
this year.
And how are you doing in school?
I'm doing good.
Going to graduate on time?
Yes, sir.
And do you have any plans for after school?
I plan on going to trade school to possibly get put on an oil rig out there at Gulf.
And did you actually apply to trade school?
I've been looking around to see what trade schools are open to it.
And that's something you want to pursue after high school?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I want to take us back a little bit now to the spring of 2024 time frame. And was there an occasion in which your mother told you that she wanted to move to Titusville with both your two other siblings?
She said yes.
And what did she tell you?
She said that she was going to move over there with those two and that I could finish out my senior year of high school over here.
So your mother specifically told you that you could spend the rest of your time, your high school time, here, well, there in your neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
Was that important to you?
Yes, sir.
Why was that important to you?
It was my senior year and I knew everybody over here and all my family's over here, so it just, I would,
The people, what high school did you go to?
Fernando High School,
And those are people that you went to high school with for the entire time there?
my whole life.
And then, so, did there come a time when you told your mother that you did not want to go to Brevard County or to Titusville with her?
I told her that I was thinking about staying over with my dad after I finished high school.
And how did your mother respond to that?
She said that this is what she was afraid of and that this is why she didn't want me staying over here.
So I want to fast forward to an incident on April 22nd, 2024. Do you remember roughly that day?
Yes.
So what happened on that day?
I was called up to the front office, and originally I didn't know what was going on, so I came up without my stuff. I realized my mom was there to pick me up, so I had to go back to my classroom and grab my stuff. And when I walked out to the car with them, they asked for me to give them my phone, and they powered off my phone and then told me,
Let me stop there for a second, just so I can break it down. So at the time that you were being called to, was it the principal's office or what?
it was to the front office, the main office.
At the time that you were called, did your mother communicate to you at all, hey, the reason why that she was going to the school?
No, sir.
Did you have any knowledge or idea that your mother was going to school to get you on that particular day?
No, sir.
And then when you get there, were you surprised that you saw your
We missed you last night. There was a lot of degeneracy going on in the chat. You should have been here. Maybe you could have kept tons of fun in check. She was very out of hand yesterday.
mother?
Yes, sir.
Was Christopher Kepner there as well too?
I don't remember if he was in the office at the time, but he was in the car for sure.
And then, so the mother, Chantel, escorted you from the office to Christopher Kepner's vehicle?
Yes. Well, it's her vehicle, but yes.
And then, so what happened once you got in the vehicle?
They asked for my phone, and they took my phone, I powered it off, and
Let
then,
me stop you there. So your phone did have a Life 360 or tracking device?
yes,
Does a Life 360 or tracking device work if your phone is turned off?
no, not to my knowledge.
And then, so do you have any means to communicate with your father or anyone else about what was going on at that particular moment?
I was going to try to text my dad, but I couldn't because they had my phone. I couldn't communicate with anybody.
Did you want to go with your mother and Christopher Kepner on that day?
No, sir.
Was that against your will?
Yes, sir.
And then, so what happened once you were in the vehicle and then you started the trial?
I gave them my phone, they powered it off, they told me where I was going, that I was going to start school over here, which was against everything we've talked about. I told them no, I wasn't, and when we tried coming to a stop, I tried getting out.
Let me stop you there. So at any time were you trying to harm yourself or commit suicide?
No, sir.
You were just, what was your intention of trying to get out of the vehicle once they came to a stop?
Trying to get out of the vehicle so they couldn't take me away from everything.
And then what did Christopher Kepner do at that point?
They had held me against the seat, and he put his arm around the back of my neck, holding me up against the front seat, and she held me there as well.
Was your mother still in the front seat or did she go to the back seat?
At that time, she had crawled to the back seat and started holding me.
And then Christopher Kepner, what exactly did he do with his arm?
He put his arm around my neck, like pushed me up against the front seat.
So was your head pinned against the front seat?
Yes, sir.
And did you remain conscious the whole time or did you black out? Or?
I believe I blacked out once or twice on the way over there.
Yes.
So I'm going to show you a series of photographs on this.
I'm going to object to further questioning about this incident. It's a matter of res judicata. There was already a petition for domestic violence injunction filed in Fernando County, which we asked the court to take judicial notice of previously, and there's a judgment saying that it was dismissed.
Your Honor, I'd like to see a case on res judicata applying to an injunction that was filed and has nothing to do with issues in this.
If the good old Twisted Tragedies wasn't the copyright queen, we should watch her lose her entire mind over Aiden getting out of that New Jersey case. Because remember how she was putting it up there that, oh, I helped her and he's going down and there's no way he's going to survive this one. Oh, it could have been manna from heaven. Questions? Line up for a disciplinary paddling. Red's my color. It's because I'm a communist.
They're two separate issues. They're being offered two separate evidentiary processes. I might see a case that says that.
However, Mr. Ordinary, once you established to me that the reason why you were mentioning that incident of April of 24, from that point forward, once you establish that baseline, explain to me what the relevance for purposes of the motion of November of 2024 as it pertains.
Twisted Tragedies is a welfare queen who streams and claims that she's a smarter person than Dave Yannetti and knows more about the law than Mark Betterow. She's also probably one of my greatest inspirations in my streaming history. And if we reach the goal of $7,500 on Valhalla's probate, he is right now at 5,300, I believe it is. I might have gotten it wrong again. She will be on my show Saturday for the entire Turtle Boy 4-hour segment. So make it happen. Then I can get an early day off, and Twisted can try and get to stream on a platform where she doesn't have to sit all the time and say, give me Venmo, give me Cash App, give me Amazon wishlists.
To TH and BH, going forward any deeper into what happened to this gentleman here, how is that going to help me anymore?
Yes, sir. That's actually an excellent point. And the reason why this whole incident is so important is because the respondent in this case went ahead and is using it as a basis as to why BH and GH don't want to see their fathers because they're afraid that their fathers want to kidnap.
You explained that. You told me that.
Yes.
And he already said that he didn't want to go. He already explained that. So I don't know what kind of photographs you have there, but given that you're talking about him blacking out and that you got to that point, going any further, I fail to see what additional relevance that is. How is that going to help me any further?
Yeah, sure. And all this, honestly, is to enforce the importance of this April 22nd initiative. Because, again, there were no visitation issues before this. This incident on April 22nd was the linchpin, was the cause that creates the alienation down the road. And the case law states that it can't be simply enough when the child says, I don't want to go, and the mother does nothing. There's some case law that suggests that's not enough. And so what we want to make sure is that the court's aware that there is a motivation and an
Where the pregnant woman's parents removed baby and unalived her. I don't know that one.
actually an action by the mother in this case.
I got that.
Okay, and the court has that, and if you have any more, I can certainly move on. Like I said, photographs substantiate exactly what Mr. Hudson talked about. If you don't need to see that, that's fine.
I do not.
Okay, thank you. I will continue in the sake of time and keep going forward. So, kind of moving forward then, just to kind of, if I can, I'll just close this up real quickly.
Thank you.
Yes. So you get to Titusville, and then ultimately, what was you had to make a decision on what you wanted to do?
What do you mean?
When you got to
Zach is on an expedition to the Antarctica and trying to save the polar bears in the Antarctica. There's a big depopulation problem with the polar bear in the Antarctic. So Zach is down there to try and help polar bears breathe and reestablish the South Pole population of polar bears. He does that every December, where he will try and help polar bears breathe in the South Pole. It hasn't been a big success so far, but he will try and get the polar bear population on the South Pole back up to sustainable levels. That's why we haven't seen him in a long time. So it's important work that he's doing, trying to save the South Polish polar bear. He told me he wanted to expect the Alaskan pipeline. No, he's on the South Pole fixing the polar bear population.
Eventually to Titusville, both respondent's house and Chris Kepner's house. You were released, correct?
Yes.
And then you were offered a choice either to stay there or to go with your father?
She had told me to go into the house, but I went and got in my dad's truck instead.
And that was your intent and that's what you wanted?
Yes.
All right, fair enough. That's enough on that incident. We'll move forward a little bit to kind of the present time. And so you have remained at your father's residence from to the present time, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, and then you were there in this past Thanksgiving when there was a visit by your sibling, BH?
Yes.
And did you have a chance to interact and see BH?
Yes.
And how was that visit?
We had a great time. She looked like she was having the time of her life out there.
Did she ever tell you she wanted to go home, or she was scared of her dad, or she didn't want to get kidnapped by your dad?
No, sir.
Was there anything negative about that visit that you wish to tell the court about that visit on Thanksgiving?
No, sir.
And then I want to move forward a little bit now to a weekend visitation that occurred on December 5th through December 8th. Were you there at the time?
Yes, sir.
Were you there the entire time?
Yes, sir.
Did you have an opportunity to visit with BH?
Yes, sir.
And how was that visit?
It went great. She had a great time.
What type of things did you do?
We went out fishing, I believe, once, and then we hung around the house and just played outside.
And was BH at that point interacting, laughing, joking?
Your
Yes, sir.
Honor, this is again about something, this is about visits in 2025, and you clearly said we're not talking about 2025, so I don't understand.
This is relevant because, and the case law supports this, in order, because we're asking for makeup, and we're asking for 140 days of makeup. And we can't just say makeup time, the court has to consider, as I'm sure counsel is aware, the best interest of the child, right? And what I anticipate the responding and saying is, oh, you know, BH really still doesn't want to go with the dad, she doesn't want to be there, she doesn't want to visit, or maybe ask for some other type of therapy or something like that. We need to establish, number one, 140 days. And then we need to establish that it's the best interest of the child to get those extra days. And this testimony is being introduced in order to establish that there's a very purposeful and positive reinforcement of the relationship between Mr. Hudson and BH. And it's important for this court to consider and allow that relationship, unimpeded by the respondent in this case, to continue. And it's our burden to produce that. And that's what this testimony is showing. There's not a whole lot more about this, Your Honor, because we only one visit. And that's all that that's all it is.
We can move it along.
So anyway, that visit, positive visit?
Yes, sir.
Did she ever tell you she did not want to be with her father?
No, sir.
Did she ever tell you she wanted to go home?
No, sir.
1 second, Your Honor. One of the things was brought up by counsel during her statement. Before January 2024, were you in any type of counseling?
No, I don't believe so.
So you weren't in counseling in October of 2023 or November 2023 or anything like that?
No, not that I remember.
Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
You said no more questions this morning?
That's all the questions I have.
Okay,
Thank you.
Cross?
Mr. Hudson, you were in, when you came and were you were living with your dad, you were living with him in a camper for part of the time, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And the majority of the time you were living with your grandmother in 2024, correct?
Sometimes, yes, but mostly it was with my dad.
And this camper, it didn't have a bunch of
He's 18 years old, so that's why we can see him in court.
bedrooms, right? Correct?
No, but it had plenty of beds to sleep on.
You mentioned that there was an incident about a BB gun being shot, and that was at your little sister, correct?
Yes, but it wasn't true.
And your mother was concerned about your grades and you staying up late at night at times when you were at your father's. Is that correct?
Not that I was aware of.
Oh, you did. Your mother never told you that.
I wasn't staying up late, no.
And you knew that your parents had signed an agreement for all three of you to move over to Titusville, correct?
I believe so.
And it would be fair to say that you have not seen your mother or spent any time with her or even talked to her since April of 2024, correct?
I have.
Can we make this a group call? Just to make sure not all the nudes is appropriate nudes.
Not other than a phone call or two.
I don't have any further questions.
Yeah,
you
this is
do
the
that?
total messed up family.
No, Your Honor.
For the next one.
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, we would call Thomas Hudson.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Hudson.
Bro. First of all, you're having your best bowling shirt on for court. And then you're trying the comb over like that. I'm getting a little thin in the and getting the widow's peaks. I'm perfectly fine with accepting when it's gone, it's gone. Don't do the no one will notice. When we were at Thule this weekend, I saw well, to me, he looked like a young kid. He was probably in his mid-20s, who had, you remember that commercial with the spray-on hair? He had the same thin stuff and then just long hair. So I was thinking, bro, let it go, let it go. Your hair won't grow back no more. We wear our best Levi's to weddings and funerals out here. Well, you are in Hicksville, Oklahoma. This is Florida, the home of all the fancy people in America. No, but you don't have to put on your bowling t-shirt. You can just put on a polo shirt that doesn't reek of, I just did blow in the toilet. Because these shiny shirts were in, what, 15 years ago? Well, it makes it worse when you get the plugins, because we have a pizzeria owner in my town who went to Turkey to get those plugs. And you can just, because it's just row on row on row on row, and they never grow back. So he just have like small bristles sticking out of his head. It looks horrible. I bet you that on the back there is the kingpins or something like that.
So if you raise your right hand, please swear in. You swear or affirm that everything you tell the court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. You may proceed, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. You may introduce yourself.
Thomas Hudson,
And how old are you, Mr. Hudson?
37,
And where do you currently live?
in Brooksville, Florida.
And How long have you lived there?
Been there since 22.
Are you currently employed?
Yes.
Where do you work?
Half.
What is that?
Half services. It's like a landscape slash group.
And how long have you worked for Past Service?
Probably 12, 13 years.
Was there a time that you were married to Chantal?
Yes.
How long were you married to Chantal?
Been close to 15 years.
And then was there a time that you filed for divorce?
Yes.
Are you the one that filed for divorce in that matter?
Yes.
Roughly when did you file for divorce?
That was shortly after.
Pusha 3. You're not talking about Zlatko Bulic. No, he's Serbian.
October 22.
And then as a result of that divorce, was there an agreement for you guys to parent your children?
Yes.
How many children do you have? And they are age, age obviously is 18, but PH and TH, correct?
There's one who plays Little Mohammed. He's Ilyas Aga. I don't know who is it. Who's the famous? But Zlatko Buric is the normal one everyone mentions. But he's from Yugoslavia.
And then as a result of that parenting plan back in October of 2022, were you awarded overnight weekend visitation alternating with your children?
Yes. And a couple of days during the week.
Were they overnight during the week or was it just,
During the week was just for a few hours.
then obviously the standard?
You can also get titlets and Botox done, and a lot of the influencer girls will get those, and then they'll come back home and they could just as well have put silicone pork in them instead, because it's shitty implants and they get infected and it's really bad.
Holidays and things like that.
Correct.
Between October of 2022, up until, let's call it, the beginning of, or before.
No, this guy's stepson is the one they believe might have done it. Well, his mom says he's a person of interest. No one has been arrested. This is just a custody battle to show the family dynamics is all effed up in this family. But they believe that this guy's stepson was the one who unalived this guy's daughter, if I get the family correct.
April 22nd, 2024. So that, roughly 2.5 year period. Did you have a regular overnight visitation with all three of your children?
Yes.
During that time period, was there ever a time when any one of your children told you they didn't want to be with you? Did any of your children ever express any fear? Has there ever been any allegations made against you of abusing verbally or physically your children the time from the time October 22nd up until April 2024?
No.
Yeah, this question, do you love your children?
Yes.
You love all three of your children,
Yes.
including TH,
Yes.
including BH,
Yes.
including PH.
Yes.
Do you want to have regular and meaningful visitation and communication with all of your children?
Yes.
So I want to kind of move us to keep us relevant here. There was a time before, right around January of 2024, when you became aware of Chantel engaging in a relationship with a person by the name of Christopher Campbell.
Yes.
Do you know around what time frame that you first introduced him into the relationship? Do you remember?
It's around January, I think. I think it was late January.
And of course, did you have any issue with that? Did there come a time when Chantel, the respondent in this case, came to you with the notion of wanting to reside over in Brevard County to Titus Oklahoma?
Yes.
Can you roughly tell us, kind of what happened?
No. Today is just it's a custody hearing just to try and learn a little bit about the family dynamics. It has nothing to do with it. It was really boring, the first part. Just the mom seems to have abducted the kids and withhold them from custody is kind of what the son said, and this is the father who didn't have who lost his custody. with them. Yes, I think that's the words I tried to use. Well, sadly, there's not a lot out there, and it's probably going to be a federal case, so we won't get a lot either. Yeah, that's yeah.
Happened in that conversation, or what was told?
I mean, I wasn't happy about it, but it was in the best interest of the kids for better schooling. She said she had better job opportunities over there.
And is that the only reason why you agreed to this relocation?
Yes.
Were you assured that you would still get regular visitation that you were having and enjoying before this incident?
Yes.
And you eventually signed this parenting agreement, correct?
Yes.
I know that council's already mentioned that, should probably show to you as well too. You're generally familiar with that parenting agreement?
Yes.
And that parenting agreement allowed for you to have overnight weekend visitation, correct?
Yes.
And kind of for holidays? Is anywhere in that agreement that you recall, does it say that one parent can withdraw or withhold visitation to another parent simply because the child does not want to go? If that was in the agreement, would you have signed that?
No.
All right, so did there come a time frame when the respondent, Chantel, moved to Times?
Yes.
And around what time frame was it?
I think it was early April.
And at that point, what happened with Andrew?
He stayed with me.
And why did he stay with you?
He was going to finish out the school year.
And just to be clear on this point, at any time from then until the present, did you ever tell Andrew that he could not see with, visit with, or speak with his mother?
No, he has his own phone, and I've always left that up to him if he wants to call her, talk to her, anything.
Would you have any issue at all if Andrew decided, hey, I want to go spend a weekend or whatever with during the entire time, this whole period, from 2024 to the present?
No, my only concern would be what happened between the mother and Chris.
And we'll stay away from that. We've already got enough on that, so that we don't. So I want to get to that point though, where we go ahead and so that both at that point TH and BH are removed to Titusville, and Andrew is staying with you. All right. And before this April 22nd incident, and between the time of when she went to Titusville and the April 22nd incident, did you have visitation with BH and TH?
Before?
Yeah, in between that time, between the time when she moved to Titusville and before the incident with Andrew.
Yeah, I believe it was only like 1 weekend.
And then so you had words with it, the parenting plan. At that point, before the April 22nd incident, you had a regular visitation with all 3 children?
Yes.
Any issues with that?
No.
Did any of the children tell you that they did not want to be there? Did any of those children say they wanted to leave early? Okay. And then, so obviously, we already talked about this April 22nd incident, but using that as the date, is that when things began to change? All right. And then, and you corresponded both on the phone with Chantel?
Yeah, phone, email, text, the parenting app.
And there's a lot of this, the parenting app, there's a lot of different communications going back.
Yes.
I think we've all filed them and all used them to a certain degree. But I want to pay particular attention, and I got my coach.
Yes, sir.
So this is, you can just tell me kind of what this is and tell us what the date is. Also, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll make sure I get it. Take your time. Message that sent out, I can't figure that out. So how's that?
This was over the phone, just text.
All right, and what's the date of that text?
4/24.
Okay, so this is 2 days after the April 22nd incident, right?
Yes.
And then what are you asking for in that particular text message to Chantel?
I just asked for a copy of the insurance cards for the kids, and I asked her if she'd get back to me about this weekend for me to pick up the kids.
All right, so that was part of your, so the incident happened on April 22nd. You have a weekend on April, that weekend, and you're asking about that visitation. I approach you? Okay, oh, you're good, counsel. Okay. So I'm going to hand you another one here. You just take a look at that. And what's the date of that email?
426. 24.
And what are you doing on this 4/26 email?
I just messaged her saying I'm still waiting on a response to see the kids, and I asked for a response to all the other info that I needed.
And had she given you a response at that point? So now I'm going to show you another email or message. And what's the date of that message?
428. 24.
All right, can you do me a favor? Can you read what was written in that item?
I just said it was great that I was able to talk to Timothy and Brooke tonight.
So stop there. So at that point, you had actually spoken with.
Danny, you'll have to reach out to one of the mods. I am just a pretty face. It's not like on your channel where you have all the lovely ladies to pull in the audience. Here, sadly, they decided we're going to use this ugly mug and try and pull in some audience. So you'll have to reach out to one of the mods. Any complaints has to be sent to Jamie. Her office hours it's just closed. But those are the people in charge. And I know I can't turn off the clickety clack, 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 clickety click, click, click.
Timothy and Brooke? So this is after the April 22nd incident.
I believe this is her dad, and I don't believe he was on the boat. I believe they were on the boat with the mom who got drunk, or the stepmom who got drunk. And then she ended up under a bed, strangulated, covered in blankets, and kind of hidden with life jackets.
Before any therapy, that's when this happened?
Yes.
Okay, so read that loud so I can hear it.
After I said it was great to talk to Timothy and Brooke tonight. Thank you. That being said, once they both want to see me, and Brooke definitely wants to come over, please let me know when I can come and get them to visitation.
All right, so let me stop you there. So on that particular phone call, based upon that memorization of that phone call, did Brooke express to you a fear of you that you were going to kidnap her? Did she tell you that you had no fears with that?
Excuse me. Please, pardon?
Your Honor, it's the state of mind. Listen, not only for proof of what Brooke actually said, but it's the effect upon the listener and how this relates to the whole kidnapping and his information.
No, the mom, it's his stepfather. She was his stepsister, and his mom is the one who pled the fifth after saying that she has seen federal documents pointing to him as a potential suspect. I think I'm right.
Okay?
Horrible.
Go ahead. So Brooke never told you that she didn't want to go?
No.
All right, continue.
Brooke definitely wants to come over. Please let me know.
Speak up so I can hear you.
Please let me know when I can come and get them for visitation. If not, this coming weekend, since I was denied last weekend. Then in anything in between, or maybe the following weekend. Looking forward to seeing them. I miss them. If you don't want to meet at our designated spot, then I can come to you, trying my best to cooperate with you.
And then, okay.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead and read, start the bottom one on. So at that point, you still have not had visitation, correct?
No.
In fact, you've never had full night visitation since that April 22nd.
Correct. Other than recently.
Other than the recent, yes. So read the June 5th one, what happened there?
Please tell the kids I love them and miss them. Hope to see them.
I still think that he was the mom's kid, and the daughter was his kid. I'll goggle.
Soon. Let me know if we can meet at the racetrack to start my 4 weeks over the summer, Sunday night or Monday afternoon.
And did she respond to you to that?
Yes.
And what did she tell you on June 6th in that email?
Please reread the emails in regard to visitation, as it has been stated multiple times, unless the kids voice to me their therapist or their therapist. I'm not making any arrangements at this time unless they ask me or their therapist to do so. I am respecting them and wanting what's best for them. At this time, child support, it talks about child support.
Any objections?
No.
Okay, so there will be, it's admitted as
The hearing involved a custody dispute between Chantel Kempner, formerly Chantel Hudson, and her ex-husband, Thomas Hudson, over their children. One of those children, Anna Kepner's stepbrother. So yeah, it's his son who apparently is the sole suspect. Anna's father, Christopher, and her stepmom attended the hearing but declined to comment outside.
petitioner's composite
Thank you.
number 1.
Yes, thank you. Now, since that time, well, you asked for summer visitation then too, correct?
Yes.
Did she ever respond to you or tell you you could have summer visitation?
No, that was what she responded, what just last read.
And from the time that she first wrote that in writing on June 5th, shortly after
I don't know because he's a minor.
the therapy visit at the beginning of May, did you ever get visitation with the children?
No.
And has she constantly maintained that the reason why you haven't gotten visitation was because the children just simply didn't want to go?
Yes.
Now, since that time, obviously a lot of weekends have passed. Have you, on occasions, went ahead and reached out to Chantel and asked her for visitation?
Yes.
All right, and what has been your response consistently throughout?
Just that they don't want to talk or see me at this time.
And so you have never had any.
We are watching the family battle in the family behind the scenes of the Anna Kepner unaliving. We are probably not going to see that case because it's going to be federal, because she was unalived on a cruise ship, on a Carnival cruise, found stuffed under her bunk, strangulated, covered in blankets, and kind of propped up with life jackets. This is just to see the family dynamics. This is the father of the potential suspect, which is her stepbrother. She was 17 at the time. He was 16. So that's yeah.
Visitation from then until now.
Correct.
But are there times when you had requested or you had showed up for your weekend at a designated spot you're supposed to be at?
Yes.
Were there times where you showed up there?
Yes.
And were there times that she didn't do, she did not?
Correct.
Now, we heard counsel stating that there were times when she showed up at a visitation spot and that you didn't show up.
I wasn't aware of that.
Are you aware of any time where she said, hey, let's meet at the racetrack, and you did not show up?
No.
Is there a text message, a voicemail, an email, a phone call, anything saying, hey, Thomas, come get my kids on this date, I'm going to meet you there, and you didn't show up? That's just simply not happening.
Yeah, I was not aware of it.
And suffice to say, again, there are multiple times where you had asked for visitation and been told the same answer.
Yes.
Now, there are a few occasions where she did agree that you had to drive over here to meet so the kids could be together.
Yes.
But that wasn't for you, was it?
No, we met, I think it was in Winter Garden at a park one time, and that was for the kids.
And weren't you specifically instructed by Chantel, or were you specifically instructed by Chantel to stay in your car?
I was. That time at the park, I seen Brooke briefly, but the other time was in front of City Hall, I believe, in Winter Garden, and I didn't get out of the car for that at all. I was told to stay in the car.
And then so Chantel was dictating the terms of even this very limited interaction.
Yes.
And how many times did that happen?
It was only 2 times that we actually met up.
And that was in a park for how long?
The park was maybe for an hour, and in front of City Hall was for like a half hour.
Now, okay, let's take the visitation side. Let's talk about communication. Was there a means where you guys talked about a way where you
He has some ADHD and stuff like that. There's nothing in it, but again, he's a minor, so we don't know. But all we know is that he has some standard letter combination that everyone has.
To communicate both to Brooke and to, I'm sorry, to BH and to GH.
Yes.
And how is that supposed to happen, like during the week or whatever?
I would call or text them and set up, well, at one time she set up a specific time frame between 7 and 8 in the afternoon to call, but that didn't really work out well either.
Did you have a means where you could regularly communicate with BH through phone or text or anything like that?
They had a phone, but I would never get a response on a rare occasion.
So you had very little, not only you had no in-person communication, you had very little oral communication both with BH and GH. All right. And I'm not going to go through all these. There are numerous emails and text messages that are between you two guys talking about you wanting to, for her to tell the kids that you love them,
Yes.
and then you wanted to see them.
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit now, just kind of move forward, just to kind of wrap this portion up. So you eventually did get your first visitation with Brooke recently.
Yes.
And when was the first time that you actually got to see, hold, and hug BH?
Thanksgiving.
And how did that make you feel?
Great.
And how did BH respond to you?
At first, she was a little hesitant when we did the exchange, but before we even got home, everything was almost back to normal, fine. She was talkative, everything was good at the house.
Was she crying when she was at Thanksgiving?
No, and we even went and we had Thanksgiving with family members, and everything was good.
And did she tell you, hey, she didn't want to see you or she didn't want to be with you at all? And then you have another visit with BH.
Yes, the following weekend.
And was that the first time, and that there was a hearing that day, right?
Yes.
And so you were here for that hearing, I know you talked about that, but you were here for that hearing.
Yes.
And that afternoon was the first time that you saw any first time in an overnight visitation with BH?
Yes.
Okay. And how did that exchange go?
Exchange went fine.
Was there any issues with BH at that point, crying or saying that she didn't want to go or anything like that?
No.
Did she ever tell you, hey, Dad, please don't kidnap me or anything like that?
No.
And then where did you take her back?
Where?
Yes.
The racetrack.
I'm sorry, you took her back to, once you picked her up, where did you go?
Oh,
And home being Carnival County?
yes.
All right, and so I know that there's been talk and maybe some remarks that you were living in a camper, right?
Originally, when I first went out there, yes.
So why were you living in a camper?
Because I left for the house, and I took our camper to stay out there.
That's the only place you had to live?
At the moment, yeah.
And did you eventually change that?
Yeah, I went into a residence camper, and then now I'm in a house. They had a house put out on the property.
Now let's just talk about when the kids were with you in this camper that the council brought up. You all were able to sleep in the camper?
Yes, there was.
The kids ever say, oh, I don't want to sleep in the camper?
No.
Any issues about you guys being in the camper?
No.
And now you actually have a house.
Yes.
All right, and do all the kids have their own rooms?
Yes.
Very good. And then during this visit, this overnight weekend visit, can you please tell the court kind of what happened?
Good. She's playing, turning around. We were outside, riding side by side. We went fishing. I mean, just a normal weekend.
And approach them. So, I'm going to hand you a picture.
Your Honor, we're going to object on this basis because these are pictures from what counsel told me from November of 2025, and the scope of the motion is what didn't happen in 2024.
Yes, Your Honor. Again, I'm required, the burden is to establish that it's the best interest of the child for the time, for the sanctions that were requested. 140 days. I can't just simply say, give us 140 days.
I have never once in my life yelled at Jamie because he hits me. That's the first thing Jamie did when she met me, was hit me. So I have never, and I will never yell at Jamie. Other than we don't see her around anymore. Lazy bum.
Now, case law is very specific on this. And
Maybe
I
we'll
think
be
the
learning
basis
that.
and the court needs to be comfortable with the fact that it is in fact the best interest of the child for Mr. Hudson to get 140 days of makeup time in addition to his regularly scheduled visitation. So the only visitation that he had was in this weekend. And I believe it's relevant for the court to consider when they see the pictures and see the motives of the child and what happened with the child to show that, hey, this in fact is in the best interest of the child. In other words, there's no evidence here that this child is fearful of being kidnapped or abused or neglected for their alleged. And that's why these photographs are extremely relevant to that point, Your Honor, and it's part of my burden.
Okay. On that note, however, 3:30, we had 1 hour. Time's up. So, how far are you
I'm
from?
almost done. I got really 2 minutes. And that's all I have.
Okay. I'm going to allow him to finish. Then I'm gonna stop for today. We're gonna stop on your, before you start your cross, just not to stop in the middle of your cross. And the hearing will have to be resumed.
That's fine. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Anyway, so briefly, Mr. Hudson, what is that a picture of?
Brooke painting one of our nails.
And then, how about this?
That was us doing birthday cake for her.
And you were there for this, you actually saw these photos being housed here, remember?
I'm in the photo.
And this was just put in time reference. This is December 5th, 6th, 7th of this past year.
Yeah.
And then here, well,
This was at my mother's house. They were all out there playing football. Yeah, this is all at my house.
and then one other picture.
This is one other picture.
And then one other picture. Who's in that picture?
That is her step siblings and cousins.
So Mr. Hudson, does Brooke in fact have family over in Hernando County?
Yes.
What family is over there for her?
Everybody. We were born and raised there.
Does she have any family in Titusville?
Other than her mother.
And then, Mr. Hudson, we're asking for 140 days of makeup. How did you come to that figure?
2 summers, the 4 weeks each summer that I missed, and holidays here and there, and every other weekend.
So basically 2 4-week periods, and then every other weekend from roughly April of 2024 to.
I think you're right, Plushy Mom. I think you're right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, sir. That's all the questions that I have. Your Honor.
Okay, so, I understand that both counsel are from the county, and I do understand it was a little difficult to schedule. I don't know if you are all familiar with the jack system we have here?
I am.
If you are not?
I
Okay.
am. No, I am.
Okay, so that's how my office schedules.
Yes.
I will suggest to you all that perhaps 1 hour is not going to be enough for the continuance. If it's more than an hour, my suggestion is don't do it through Jax. Perhaps call my office so Ms. Bernal can offer you more than 1 hour.
Yes, ma'am. We'll do it. We'll work it. We'll work with counsel. We'll figure it out. Hopefully get it sooner rather than later. I don't either one of us wants to push this anymore.
So this was the hearing. It was just a stupid custody battle. Not a lot to it, but it kind of shows that this probably wasn't the best, most functional family that you could come upon. And for those of you who didn't know it, the case in New Jersey against Aiden Carney from Lindsay whatever, the lady who tried to self-insert herself into Aiden's reporting by catfishing Paul O'Keefe, the one he sent his bathroom pictures to. the one where he said, "I'll be wearing blue thinking of you," and all that stuff, who sued Aiden because he reported on it and she felt threatened. Today, as we could see, we know from the bus stop live this morning that something was in the pipeline. We didn't know what it was. But Lindsay Strachini, Pollock's side check, restraining order against me has been dismissed. Today was scheduled to be the second day of trial, and Ms. Strachini was set to be cross-examined by Kenny Baden about all of her lies. She didn't want to do that because it would expose that she wasn't scared of me, something she admitted to the judge today when she chose to dismiss her own complaint. The order was unconstitutional and a violation of my rights to begin with, and was only obtained after a hearing in which she lied to a court officer, shed fake tears, and was coached about what to do by the officer. For 2 months, I was unable to even speak about what was happening out of fear of arrest, but that ends today. Writing factual stories about people's behavior is not a crime. Calling people for comments is not a crime. Inadvertently exposing people as liars is not a crime. And if you listen, you will now hear both Twisted Tragedies and El Crusty Panties law practice crumble into dust. This was the case. This was the case that would finally, if it wasn't for those pesky kids, Aiden Carney would be in prison. But sadly, Crust and Twist Law LLC is always wrong. So the case was dismissed. She withdrew her request because she would have been lying under oath, apparently. What do we know? But she didn't want to get under oath and give testimony. So that's one more case dismissed against Turtle Boy. But it also shows why we need to help raise money for Turtle Boy's Defense Fund. Because it's not just the problems in Massachusetts. You have crazy people like this coming at him and want money because they claim he breaks the law, breaks the rules all the time. Nothing he did was nefarious. He told him multiple times, "I'm going to write the story," and she asked him to write the story to begin with. And then she got cold feet because she liked the attention. There's nothing nefarious about that. We still have the t-shirt lady, that cray-cray. And you still have all the Massachusetts charges against him. And if Krusty and Twisted can find some other effing weirdo out there, they will be the next to try and put a restraining order or get Aiden in prison. Because all of this is just to send Aiden to prison. It has nothing to do with justice. All of this is just revenge. Luckily, another one bites the dust. Sadly, she will probably never get any consequences for filing a bogus lawsuit. In Denmark, had that happened, they would be forced to pay for Aiden's defense. But sadly, America is not as just as we are. So, yeah. She can dish it out, but not handle it. If I was her, I would have been shaking in my boots hearing Linda Barton Kennedy was going to question me. She seemed like a very terrier-like, if you can say that. She's going to find a bone and she's going to stay on that bone. Getting Lego tomorrow, you inspired me. What are you getting, Shazmaz? Yeah, that's you can say whatever you want about Aiden and his many legal trouble, but he has had some exceptionally good lawyers. Bradel, who is a little more underplayed, but he is sassy as hell. Betterow, we all know and love. And Linda has she has a mean side to her that you can tell when she gets really when she gets annoyed at something, when they're covering something on the channel. You can tell you don't want her mad. You don't want her mad at anyway. Rhymes with zucchini. No, it's a baguette. It's not a zucchini. No. There should be some punishment for what she did. It's the same with I've always said that false allegations about rape should be punished with the exact same amount of time that the person would have spent in prison. She should have exactly the same conditions Aiden should face. But Baker, you insufferable massage therapist, what about people who are forced to withdraw? Well, they should tell I am under duress, help me. This lady clearly wasn't under duress. She clearly made her own mind up. So I think off with their heads and send them to prison for the same time. Did I get what the Third Boy can countersue now, but does she has any money? Is it worth the struggle? That's the thing. I never saw what. Don't know. I has to be easy. You didn't say getting Lego tomorrow. What type of Lego? I am the greatest American ever. And it's cool to be an American. Well, at least I know I'm free. And the who stand up next to me and defend her still today. I love this land. God bless the USA. You're getting flowers. Okay. The only thing if you're getting I can't put this like the wildflowers up here or the pink bouquet down here, down there. It's not as repetitive, but I have the roses up there. They get really repetitive. That's the biggest problem with the flowers. Controversial stand. I can't take that song. I don't know. It's not the worst. From sea to shining sea. You don't have to take Greenland. You can get Greenland. It cost us $500 million a year to run Greenland. Do you know how much hospitals I could get from that? I would. No, I of course love my Greenlandic subjects because they played that song during my first day in the army in my first propaganda video I got to watch. Oh, and see, it worked. You stayed. I'm getting my massage tomorrow at 8 o'clock your time, and I need it. So I'm be ready for my 12 hours on Saturday. But no, we'll be fine. Don't be daft. Sweden need to give us our land back. They stole from us, heathens. Be better at war. Yeah, stop cheating. If you just fought fairly, we would still have Skåne, Halland, and Blekinge, and Norway. But no, we're cheating. That's not fair. We told Jess Machado about the baker's patty and baguette. She said I had small dick energy. She is persona non grata on this channel. She said I had small dick energy. Me, with a baguette that size, she said I had, well, I do call it the micronator, just to don't disappoint anyone. But she said I had small dick energy. That hurt, y'all. Go away now. It's almost adequate sized. 3 inches is 3 inches.
I'm Jimmy. How y'all doing?
I know English is your second language, but you don't word
It's
your
my
questions
third,
carefully.
but I'm still better at it than you. You are
The most important people in this case that everybody seems to have forgotten in this room is the jury. So we're going to take a 15-minute break and both sides take a pregnant pause and think about the jury.